All right, what's going on, guys? Just got the truck packed up. We're going to do a little overnight camping in the woods, some bushcraft style camping. And so I was packing the truck up and I realized I haven't done a video in a while. And the last video I did was on the Diamondback cover. So I kind of wanted to just show you the new cover I got, maybe talk a little bit about why I got it, and then tell you some things that I like and some things I don't like about my new cover. So this is a Revolver X4s. This is a rolling cover, but it's hard. And so there's metal underneath there, so you got a lot of security. You can't cut it or anything like that. But it rolls up like a traditional vinyl cover. A few differences with this in how it rolls up and then how tall it is when it rolls up, but the premise is the same. So the reason I got rid of the Diamondback, now it's messy in here, is I carry a hitch in here most of the time. I would take this out if I needed it. It's easy to take out, but I didn't need the space today. But we have a fifth wheel. So when we tow the fifth wheel, the cover has to roll back so I can attach the fifth wheel to the hitch. With a roll-up cover, it's easy. You just roll the cover back. With the Diamondback, not so much. The Diamondback, actually, the only thing that is permanent is this middle piece right here. The other pieces fold up on each side. So anytime I wanted to use the camper, I would have to take the Diamondback off. And then whenever we got to our destination, say we were going to Florida to go to the beach, well, then I didn't have a cover, so I couldn't secure anything that was in my bed. So that just didn't really work for us. So I wanted a roll-up cover, but I wanted something a little bit, I guess, more high-end than some of the vinyl roll-up covers I'd had in the past. So I decided to give the X4s a try. So a couple things about this. It has two releases. You don't need to pull both. You only need to pull one, and then it just folds up, and then it rolls out of the way. Now, a couple of things that are nice about this compared to previous models. I think the older X4s used to have like a felt here instead of rubber, and then this was silver. And so, in my opinion, it just kind of stuck out. So this is all black, so it blends in really well. This rolls back again, just like a traditional cover. This is considerably heavier than a vinyl cover, so just something to be aware of when you're installing it. I didn't do an install video because this installs like any other cover. There's probably hundreds of them out there. You just put the rails on. There's 3 little clamps on each side, and then you secure this on. They actually have twist knobs this secures to. This also has these straps here that come back, connect into here, and then you can secure this so it doesn't roll back on you. It's my understanding these are different on the X4s also than the previous generation, so a little bit easier to use. Some things that are also different about this cover, if you see these little pieces here, what happens is when this comes down and this is pushed down and lock it, then this comes over those and holds it in place. So for example, if you've had a roll-up cover before, especially the Velcro kind, you can pull the Velcro up and then almost stick your hand in there. Well, that metal bar goes over here and locks each one of these individually in place. So this is a lot more secure than a lot of other covers would be. All right, so let's talk about some things that I like about this cover. The main thing I like about this cover is I like the look of it. It is a very sleek look. It barely sticks up above the bed, and the matte look I think just looks good as opposed to like the shiny ones. But I think it just provides like a really clean look. I like that about it. That's probably number one. Number two, I do like that this is hard. They say you can walk on this maybe up to 4, maybe even 500 pounds. I'm not sure. I don't have a need to walk on my bed, but I guess if you need to, that's something. You definitely can't walk on a vinyl cover. And then lastly, I like that it's a rolling cover. I went with this cover for a couple of reasons. So for one, I had also looked at the retracts, and I may get a retracts in the future, so brace yourself for that video. But I like having all of my bed space. So for example, I have these 2 totes here. One has like straps, different things like that. This has tools in it. With the retracts, the canister would hang down further than that, so I'd have to redo all of that stuff. And then also the retracts is going to stick up a little higher on the rails. I don't really have any clearance issues with my fifth wheel, but that's always something to consider is how high something goes up above the rails. That's just that much less clearance you have when you're towing a fifth wheel over uneven terrain. So I like all those things about it. Some things I don't like. Let's just start with the worst. This little piece of plastic right here. So this is the worst. This was actually broken when I got the cover. The manufacturer was good about replacing it, but these are just plastic tabs in here. They get brittle, and it was broken when I got it. Now, the seal on here is good right here. And this is pretty much dry down here. This, however, lets water in on both sides. So definitely not a fan of that. Another kind of small thing, just both of the rails came chipped like that on both sides, which that is a really easy fix. All I have to do is get some black touch-up paint. I just haven't done it yet. So that's not a huge deal, but for $1,100, you would think that it wouldn't be, you know, scuffed up and things like that. But whatever, you know, I think all these covers are overpriced in my opinion. But again, this cover was about $1,100, which is still about half the price of a Retrax or less, depending on which type of Retrax you get. But if you were looking for a roll-up cover, I like this cover. I've had all the cheap ones. I've had like the Gator covers, I've had the Lund covers, the Tuxedo covers. This one just looks better. It looks better, it's more secure. It's, you know, if you need to sit on top of it or sit something on top of it, you have that flexibility as well. Like I said, the minute things that I pointed out, like here, that's not a big deal. This, you know, depending on who you are, this may be a deal breaker for you. I don't know. You could probably put something in there if you wanted to maybe seal that up even more. Over the years, I've learned that none of these roll-up covers are watertight. So anything I want to get dry, I'll put in the middle. Anything I put up here close to the tailgate, I just don't care if it gets wet. So better to go in with lowered expectations if you're talking about water intrusion on any of these roll-up covers. So would I get it again? Yes, I would get it again, especially if you're tow. Only thing to consider is, for those of you who have roll-up covers now, if you have a vinyl one, you know, it may only go up this high. You go about twice that with this because of the metal. And if you're one of those that likes to look out the back window to see your hitch when you hook up, you're gonna have some issues there. I have cameras, you know, and all that, but sometimes I like to turn around and get a visual peek at my hitch as I'm hooking up. I can't do that anymore with this cover. So anyway, that's the Revolver X4s. My little opinion on it. Take that for what it's worth. Stay tuned to see what's next with the truck.